Kenneth Mason Easley Jr. lived a life shaped by grit, brilliance, and an unbreakable spirit. To football fans around the world, he was the enforcer, a name earned not from intimidation, but from excellence. To those who knew his journey, he was something deeper, a warrior with a quiet fire, a leader with instinctive wisdom, and a man whose greatness reached far beyond the boundaries of a football field. His story began long before stadiums chanted his name, long before he became a legend in Seattle. It began in the heart of Chesapeake, Virginia, where a young boy learned how to dream big and fight even bigger. Growing up in Virginia, Easley seemed touched by destiny. At Oscar F. Smith High School, his talent burst forward with the force of something unmistakable. He wasn't just good, he was historic. In one season, he became the first player in state history to reach both 1,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards, a rare combination that electrified everyone who saw him. His performances were the kind that filled neighborhoods with whispers and packed high school bleachers to the edge. Quarterback, leader, phenom, he wore every title with a calm confidence that hinted at the greatness ahead. Those who coached him saw a young man who worked harder than anyone, who pushed himself as if he were chasing something only he could see. His dominance earned him All-State and All-American honors, and in 1996, long after he had left those high school fields behind, the school immortalized his legacy by naming its stadium beard, DeLong Easley Field. It was a tribute to the greatness that had once sprinted across that grass, a reminder that legends can emerge from anywhere, including the quiet neighborhoods of Chesapeake. College coaches from around the country flooded his doorstep. The stories say over 350 schools reached out, each desperate to land him. But Easley chose UCLA, a decision that would set him on a path toward national recognition. From the moment he stepped onto that campus in 1977, he announced himself with authority. As a true freshman, he recorded 9 interceptions, 93 tackles, and became an All-Pac-10 selection. Even as a young man far from home, he played with the poise of a veteran, as if the game slowed down for him alone. Consistency became his trademark. For 4 straight seasons, he earned all-conference honors, becoming the first in Pac-10 history to achieve that mark. His instincts made fans rise to their feet before he even touched the ball. His hits echoed across stadiums. His leadership steadied entire locker rooms. By the time he finished his UCLA career, he owned school records in tackles and interceptions, achievements that spoke not just to talent, but to an iron will that refused to bend. He was a 3-time consensus All-American, and even finished 9th in Heisman Trophy voting, an almost unheard-of feat for a defensive player. UCLA retired his jersey, a rare honor reserved for only the greatest to ever wear the blue and gold. The College Football Hall of Fame later welcomed him as well, recognizing a career carved into the history of the sport. Though the Chicago Bulls selected him in the 1981 NBA draft, football had already claimed him fully. His path was clear, and destiny awaited in Seattle. When the Seattle Seahawks drafted Kenneth Easley 4th overall in 1981, everything changed. His rookie season was a declaration. 3 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, and the AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Seattle had gained more than a player. They had gained a foundation, a heartbeat. His presence changed the energy of the entire defense. Quarterbacks feared throwing anywhere near him. Receivers swallowed anxiously before crossing into his zone. Coaches built game plans around what he might do. When Coach Chuck Knox arrived in 1983, he identified Easley as the centerpiece of his defense, describing him as the backbone of everything they ran. That year, Easley captured the AFC Defensive Player of the Year award, solidifying his status as a force the league could not contain. Then came his masterpiece, the 1984 season. 10 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, league leader in picks, Defensive Player of the Year. One of the greatest defensive seasons ever recorded. In a legendary 45-0 domination of the Kansas City Chiefs, Seattle returned 4 interceptions for touchdowns, and Easley was at the heart of that historic performance. Fans still talk about that game with a reverence reserved for once-in-a-generation moments. But greatness often comes at a price. The constant punishment, the fearless hits, the relentless demands of elite football all began to weigh on him. Injuries crept in during the mid-1980s. In 1987, he found himself thrust into the center of the NFL players' strike as Seattle's representative. He stood on principle, refusing to betray his convictions even when it placed him at odds with teammates. He never sought conflict, but he also refused to bow when the moment demanded courage. Leadership often feels heavy, and Easley carried that weight alone. By the end of the 1987 season, something deeper was wrong. His body was faltering, not from age, but from an illness no one yet understood. In 1988, the Seahawks attempted to trade him to the Phoenix Cardinals. It seemed like another painful chapter in a growing distance between player and franchise. But during his physical, doctors made a discovery that changed his life forever. Easley had idiopathic nephrotic syndrome, a severe kidney disease. The trade was voided. His career was over. Just like that. No farewell game. No final season. No standing ovation. The enforcer was forced to walk away from the game that had defined him. The shock was devastating. Easley later revealed that he had taken extremely high doses of Advil for an ankle injury, pills that were allegedly available in large quantities inside the locker room. He filed a lawsuit against the Seahawks, their trainers, and team doctors, arguing that this misuse played a role in his kidney failure. The lawsuit sent waves across the NFL, raising questions about the unchecked use of over-the-counter medication in professional sports. Though the case was settled privately, emotional wounds lingered long after the legal ones had closed. Seattle felt distant, almost like another lifetime. In 1990, after years of battling the illness, Easley received a life-saving kidney transplant at the University of Washington Medical Center. It breathed hope back into a life that had been overshadowed by pain. But the transformation from legendary athlete to survivor was not an easy road. For a while, Easley retreated from the spotlight, focusing on rebuilding his health and rediscovering himself beyond the roar of stadiums. He re-emerged with purpose. In 1991, he entered the automotive business, becoming co-owner of Alderwood Oldsmobile and Cadillac. Under his leadership, the dealership thrived. His determination and character carried him into a new role as president of the African American Dealers Association, where he championed opportunities for minority entrepreneurs. Later, in partnership with NFL legend Bruce Smith, he invested in the Norfolk Nighthawks arena football team. Though the venture brought challenges and disagreements, Easley pushed forward with his trademark intensity. Yet one chapter remained unresolved, his relationship with the Seahawks. Years of silence stretched between them. Hurt, misunderstanding, and the complicated fallout from his illness had built a wall neither side felt ready to break. But time has its own sense of timing. 15 years after he left the field, the Seahawks reached out with a message that stunned him. They wanted to induct him into their Ring of Honor, and they refused to induct anyone else until he accepted. The gesture touched him deeply. It spoke of respect, gratitude, and a desire to mend what had been broken. Easley accepted. And when he returned to the team that once defined him, the embrace was warm, emotional, healing. In 2002, he became the 7th Seahawk in the Ring of Honor. Years later, he served as honorary captain at Super Bowl 49. And in 2017, Seattle retired as number 45, a symbol of everlasting recognition for a man who had given everything he had. In the years that followed, Easley lived quietly, surrounded by his family, and the deep pride of a life well lived. But his health remained a constant battle. After decades of resilience, struggle, and triumph, Kenneth Mason Easley Jr. passed away peacefully on November 14, 2025, at the age of 66. His death sent shockwaves through Seahawks Nation and across the football world. Fans, former teammates, and strangers who had admired him from afar all mourned the loss of a man whose courage had shaped their lives. He leaves behind his devoted wife, Gail, and their children, Kendrick, Gabrielle, and Jordana, each carrying a part of his strength within them. They were his greatest pride, the foundation beneath every achievement. Easley's estimated net worth of $6 million reflects his success, but his true wealth lay elsewhere. It lived in the hearts he inspired, the battles he fought, the loyalty he showed, and the legacy he engraved into NFL history. He taught a generation what resilience looks like. He showed that greatness is not only measured in trophies or records, but in the courage to rise after being broken. Kenneth Mason Easley Jr. will forever remain a legend whose spirit refuses to fade, a warrior of rare heart whose story will continue to strengthen every soul who hears it. The enforcer may be gone, but his echo lives on, powerful as ever, in every memory he left behind.